Hoje vamos ter duas reportagens especiais sobre a controversa prisão de Guantánamo. Mas antes de mais, gostaria de referir que o presidente Trump declarou que não serão libertados mais prisioneiros de Guantánamo. E Arun Rath, o correspondente da NPR, acompanhará a vida complicada de um dos últimos prisioneiros que foi ali libertado.
Do you think there was a misunderstanding about the terms of your release?
Em cooperação com o Retro Report, utilizaremos imagens pouco conhecidas para contar a história esquecida do passado de Guantánamo.
It felt like you were in prison. I mean, that's what it was to us. It was being in a prison.
Veremos como Guantánamo se tornou um centro de detenção para refugiados, bem como a história da batalha jurídica que levou à situação atual.
This is essentially Guantanamo Episode 1.
Hoje teremos duas histórias sobre Guantánamo, a do seu passado e a do seu presente. Fiz a cobertura da prisão de Guantánamo durante o mandato de Obama.
President Obama rushing to empty Guantanamo Bay just days before leaving office.
Voltei pouco antes do término do mandato de Obama. Ele e Trump estavam em desacordo quanto ao futuro da prisão e dos homens lá encarcerados.
He's allowing people to get out that are terrible people.
Make no mistake, we will close Guantanamo Prison.
Gitmo, we're keeping that open, and we're going to load it up with bad dudes.
Guantánamo ainda é o lar de terroristas conhecidos como Khalid Sheikh Mohammed, o autoproclamado gênio por detrás do 11 de setembro.
Tell us where we are.
We're standing right now in front of Camp 6, and that's where the majority of the general population detainees are housed. Just don't get any guard faces in the back.
Desta vez vim fazer uma reportagem acerca da última tentativa de Obama de esvaziar a prisão. No último ano do seu mandato, libertou 52 prisioneiros. Muitos deles nunca tinham sido acusados de nada e tinham sido considerados demasiado perigosos para serem libertados. Contudo, os membros das Forças Armadas e dos serviços secretos acabaram por considerar que era seguro libertá-los. Queria saber mais acerca destas decisões e acerca do que aconteceria aos prisioneiros quando fossem libertados.
This gate would literally be the last gate that they walk through before they get on their transportation to leave Guantanamo Bay.
Os prisioneiros foram espalhados pelo mundo e usados em acordos secretos.
Bodyguard for Osama bin Laden is now free after being held for 14 years.
Nenhuma destas pessoas revela quaisquer pormenores, mas a maior parte dos prisioneiros foi enviada para países árabes.
The Obama administration quietly took 10 terror suspects from the prison at Guantanamo Bay and transferred them to the Middle Eastern country of Oman.
Alguns foram enviados para países como Oman.
The US released 4 Yemeni men with some relatives waiting.
Outros encontraram-se com as famílias na Arábia Saudita. Todas as transferências de prisioneiros foram analisadas e aprovadas pelo Departamento de Defesa. Chuck Hagel aprovou a transferência de mais de 40 prisioneiros durante o tempo que ocupou o cargo de secretário da Defesa.
In terms of the facts about former detainees, what should Americans make of their danger, their status?
There's always the danger, of course, because this is an imperfect process. But every one of those detainees I signed off on, it was based on the best, absolute best information, intelligence, and knowledge and certification that we could come up with. And one of the final questions that I had to certify was, in your opinion, have you done everything to minimize the possibility that a detainee would ever again do any harm to an American or any of our allies?
What did that mean in practice, in figuring that out?
I always took the approach that I wanted to be damn sure. And I wanted assurance from my security people that, in fact, they had seen physically where these people were going to be, who was going to monitor them, how often the monitoring. And on the other side, we say to the host countries that are going to accept them, we want these people to get back into society where they are productive citizens. That means education. That means rehabilitation. Of course, I mean, that's clearly in our interest. It's in the interest of the detainee.
Não houve notícias de grande parte dos prisioneiros depois de terem sido libertados. Os advogados dizem que os que foram enviados para países árabes se parecem estar a integrar bem. Contudo, sei que alguns têm sentido dificuldades. Uns quantos prisioneiros foram transferidos para países não árabes e quase não lhes foi dado apoio. Um dos últimos prisioneiros a ser libertado de Guantánamo está disposto a ser entrevistado. Mansour al-Daifi era o prisioneiro 441 e era natural do Iêmen. Nunca foi formalmente acusado, mas passou 14 anos em Guantánamo por ser demasiado perigoso para ser libertado. Em 2015, uma comissão de avaliação formada pelo presidente Obama decidiu que não representava uma ameaça para o país. Os prisioneiros do Iêmen não podem regressar ao seu país devido à instabilidade política. No verão passado, ele e mais um prisioneiro foram transferidos para a Sérvia. A advogada pro bono de Mansour reside em Nova Iorque e disse-nos que ele está infeliz na Sérvia e que quer viver num país árabe.
Was he given any choice in where he was going to go?
No, not really. It was pretty much presented as Guantanamo or Serbia.
And what kind of rehabilitation has been provided for him in Serbia so far?
From Serbia, as far as I can tell, nothing. And nothing from the U.S. government. If we are going to take someone after holding them for 14 or 15 years and not let them go home, and not let them go to the country they want to go to, not let them go to a place where they feel they themselves will be able to build a life, but force them to another place, then I think we have a responsibility to help them adjust to that and make it work.
Ela disse que Mansour fez greve de fome como forma de protesto.
You have represented other Guantanamo detainees. In terms of Mansour's resettlement and reintegrating, is Mansour a unique case?
I do not think he's the only one who's had a difficult time. I think a lot of the other men who have been sent to, say, Eastern Europe, which is a very unfamiliar culture for them and unfamiliar languages, have had a very hard time adjusting. People who were sent to countries like Oman, which are very familiar to them, which are a familiar language, which does have a formal rehabilitation program to help them make that adjustment. Those people seem to be doing pretty well. And if we want to make sure that these people are never going to be a threat to the U.S., the best way to do that is to make sure that they have a life that they're happy with. That's not going to happen if you put them someplace where they are totally isolated and they don't see any prospect for a future.
No momento da minha partida para Belgrado, na Sérvia, para me encontrar com Mansour, eis o que sabia sobre ele. Passou algum tempo num campo de treino da Al-Qaeda, no Afeganistão, antes de ser capturado, quando estava na casa dos 20. Grande parte do dossiê referente ao seu caso continua a ser confidencial, mas os documentos que vieram a público mostram que o governo dos Estados Unidos alegou que ele era um comandante da Al-Qaeda. Contudo, a última avaliação feita apresentou conclusões bastante diferentes. No máximo era apenas um combatente e possivelmente nem sequer era membro da Al-Qaeda. Mansour gostava de exagerar e de alterar a sua história. Em 2006 afirmou ser jihadista e enalteceu os ataques de 11 de setembro. Em 2015 já dizia que gostaria de ingressar no ensino superior e que era fã de Taylor Swift. Ainda assim é estranho enviar para a Sérvia um homem que tinha sido considerado um terrorista muçulmano.
Every Muslim house burned, every Muslim killed or run off.
Na década de 90, os militares sérvios assassinaram dezenas de milhares de homens, mulheres e crianças muçulmanas.
The Serbs call it ethnic cleansing and brag about their efficiency.
A NATO bombardeou Belgrado para acabar com a carnificina que durava há anos. Quando os prisioneiros cá chegaram, fizeram logo manchete. Muitos questionaram-se se seriam perigosos. O primeiro-ministro sérvio assegurou que não eram. O outro prisioneiro recusou-se a ser entrevistado. Mansour tem tentado não dar nas vistas e não ser alvo de muita atenção, e a sua advogada tem dito aos responsáveis que ele se encontra infeliz e que está a fazer greve de fome. Agora quer tornar a história pública na esperança de que o transfiram. O governo sérvio acordou ficar com Mansour durante 2 anos. Ele não pode sair do país. Proporcionaram-lhe uma pequena remuneração e um apartamento. Foi lá que nos encontramos com ele.
Hey.
Mansour.
Okay, where are you?
Hi.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Welcome.
How are you feeling right now?
I feel I'm lost, honestly, because I'm nowhere. I end up in Guantanamo 20 years old. I am still mentally, I'm 20 years old. The way I'm thinking, the way I'm talking, but physically, I am 36. Because when you stay in jail, I mean, your mind and your intellectual, everything stays at the same. And the worst thing in Guantanamo, like what I have experienced, I didn't know why I was there. And for how long are they going to punish me? Until when? What's my crime? I wish if I had done something wrong, then yeah, I deserve that. But nothing. It's just keep people indefinite for no reason. It's not right at all.
A estadia de Mansour pode ter sido alargada devido ao que disse à Comissão de Avaliação em 2006. Após 5 anos em Guantánamo, declarou-se inimigo dos Estados Unidos da América.
I regret that now. I was mad, I was young, I was crazy, of course. Imagine you are in a place where you're like all totally disconnected to the world outside, to your family, to lawyers, to anyone. They were extracting the worst of us to show the world this is bad people.
Mansour aprendeu inglês em Guantánamo. Segundo ele, aprendeu principalmente com os guardas. Queria estudar numa faculdade em Belgrado que lecionasse inglês, mas não o deixaram. Ele disse que foi por causa do seu historial, mas a universidade disse-me que não passou na prova de admissão. Ele raramente sai de casa, principalmente agora que está a fazer greve de fome.
My way is like slowing down very, very fast. I started on 154 pound. Now I am on 136, like almost 18 pound. I have lost my weight in 23 days.
Para grande parte dos prisioneiros de Guantánamo, recusarem-se a comer era uma forma comum de protesto. Mansour diz que o fez várias vezes e que chegou a ser obrigado a comer durante 2 anos. Agora está a usar essa mesma tática para fazer pressão sobre os Estados Unidos de forma a que o transfiram para outro local.
What I am asking to be sent to other country which I can start my life. That's what I want. To start a family, start to finish my education, and to live in like a normal person. That's what I want in my life. Not more. Simple dream.
What did you think when you heard Serbia?
I was afraid, scared, afraid, to be honest with you, because the historical conflict between Serbian and Muslims in the 90s, this is like, God, I'm going to that country. You throw me in a country which I know nothing about, no language. I mean, it's total chaos. The Serbian government told me that after 2 years, you are leaving. And who is going to accept ex-Guantanamo detainee after what had been said about us?
Mansour escreve todas as noites parte das suas memórias acerca do tempo que passou em Guantánamo. Partilhou um rascunho dessas mesmas memórias comigo. Quando nos fomos embora, dissemos que viríamos na manhã seguinte para continuar a entrevista. Após poucos minutos, mandaram parar o nosso táxi.
Police pull us over. About, I think, 3 or 4 officers. They said random check.
Estávamos com Valerie Hopkins, a nossa produtora local.
We're talking now. He wants to know what do you guys do?
We're reporters.
Novinari. Hoćemo li imati više ovakvih susreta? Hvala, prijatno.
Has that ever happened to you before?
Od 95. evo prvi put me zaustavila. Nikad. Zaustavila me ova saobraćajna policija. Isto kontrola, papiri, 3-4 puta. Ovo su, razlikujte vi njih. Ovo su interventni. Samo ima nešto tako, budim nešto sumnjivo. Rutinski to, lako.
Na manhã seguinte, antes de nos dirigirmos à casa de Mansour, James Jacoby, o produtor do programa, recebeu uma mensagem sua.
He says, look, I have a problem, and he said, I don't think I can talk to you today. Government was here. That is what I can say now. For now, I don't want to run into any problem, please. It's different now. No, please don't come. There will be a problem for me.
Monsoor não nos prestou mais declarações e começou assim uma aventura inesperada. Fomos até sua casa e ligámos-lhe várias vezes. Falámos com a sua advogada que se encontrava em Nova Iorque, mas ela também não sabia o paradeiro dele. Nas mensagens disse que fora visitado por alguém do Estado. Não disse quem tinha sido, nem qual o motivo. Só sabíamos que tinha alguém do governo sérvio a vigiá-lo. Contudo, não sabíamos onde encontrá-lo. Por isso pedimos ajuda a um jornalista de investigação local que tem andado a tentar que o governo revele informações acerca de Monsoor.
This is a letter to a government in August, September also, November. So basically I am addressing to any possible authorities that are maybe in charge for this issue. And the government didn't even reply to my constant calls or mails.
What have you been able to find out about the transfers?
We found out that government didn't call any experts for resocialization and trauma healing of those people. We found out that they didn't contact Islamic communities in Serbia and notify them. And for sure, their help is needed in their resocialization. So basically, the only person who has everything on this case is the Prime Minister, who is not very keen of journalists.
Dame i gospodo, uvaženi ministri, uvaženi novinari, poštovani.
Descobri que Aleksandar Vučić, o primeiro-ministro, estava a dar uma conferência de imprensa. Quando cheguei, disseram-me para falar com o ministro do Interior, a pessoa encarregada de segurança interna.
Hello, nice to meet you.
Likewise. Do you think we could talk to you for a few minutes?
What are the issues that you want?
We're doing stories about the Guantanamo detainees that have ended up in other countries.
Give me a minute to think about it.
Okay.
I want to rethink whether I should say anything because there are technical issues that are sensitive.
Queria descobrir o que sabia acerca do paradeiro de Monsoor.
We've been interviewing one of the former detainees, and he suddenly went quiet on us. Is there any way that we could find out through you, or is...
Well, they are now private citizens as anyone else, and they have right to talk or not to talk with anyone, so we cannot force them to do that or influence them to do that.
He's fallen out of contact with everybody, and we were actually concerned about what's going on with him.
Well, I have no information that any one of them complained. We have a regular communication with them. And I think that they're very happy with the ongoing situation. And I would say that we are doing a very good job. We are trying to accommodate U.S. in a way of de-radicalizing these kind of individuals while closing Guantanamo.
Durante 2 dias percorremos Belgrado de les a les em busca de Monsoor. A Embaixada dos Estados Unidos não foi de grande ajuda.
Is the State Department responsible for these guys' well-being here?
I don't know.
You don't know?
Well, the best answer is I don't know who has primary responsibility.
Uma noite, enquanto esperava notícias de Monsoor, foi à Baixa de Belgrado. Lá, mais de 1000 refugiados, maioritariamente de países árabes, tinham montado um acampamento improvisado. O governo sérvio tem tentado proporcionar assistência, mas é difícil ajudar todos.
You're from Afghanistan?
Yeah, I'm from Afghanistan.
How long have you been here now?
More than 2 months.
What's it like living here?
There behind the bus station, it's really cold there. It's not blanket, not food, it's not water, no shower, nothing. New people come here, many people, lot of children, families, and single men. It's not easy. When I was in Afghanistan, people call us, hey, you are not good Muslim. They tried to kill me. When we come to the Europe, say you are terrorists. For no reason, why we terrorists? We did nothing bad here. And we just run from terrorists. What we have to do, we really don't know. It's really hard, yeah.
Nessa noite tivemos finalmente notícias de Mansour. Estava no local onde menos esperávamos, no nosso hotel. Disse-nos que na manhã em que íamos continuar a nossa entrevista, entraram vários homens sérvios no seu apartamento e lhe disseram para parar de falar connosco.
They were serious, very serious. And I tried to push the door, they pushed the door, and one of them pushed me, I pushed them back. And I couldn't resist because I'm on hunger strike. They took me to the ground and I really felt humiliated. I hit my head on the wall here. They went, I think they were more than 3. They checked the apartment, they took my phone. And they told me basically just, if you want to stay here, you have to keep your mouth shut. You are lying, you are playing games. If you don't stay in this place, we're going to take you someplace where you don't like. That's it.
Tendo em conta o seu historial, não foi estranho saber que os sérvios estavam de olho nele. Também era difícil saber quão mal o trataram, pois, como dissemos em Guantánamo, ele tinha tendências para exagerar.
I swear by my God, I didn't need to make it up.
I understand.
If you judge me by this, sorry, I have to go. In Guantanamo, when they put you under pressure, under very bad circumstances, like 72 hours under very cold air condition, and you were tied to the ground, and someone came and poured cold water, whatever, tell him what he wants. Just, okay, get out of my skin. Why I should even lie about Serbia? I'm living here. Why should I create problems for myself with Serbian government?
Era tarde e Mansour queria falar com a sua advogada que estava em Nova York sobre passar a noite no hotel.
Honestly, last night I couldn't sleep. I have nightmares all night. Even today, I put a lot of stuff behind the door. And I think I'm going to keep doing this all the time. Okay, I will stay here tonight.
Let me talk to her about that.
Okay, James wants to talk to you.
Beth, let me take your credit card number, unless you want to call the hotel directly and book the room for Mansour.
I have nowhere to go to. I have thought about it, to hide among the refugees, but it's not a good idea.
What name do you want to use, Mansour, for tonight?
Tell her is 441, tell her.
She wants to use 441.
Na noite seguinte, fomos perguntar aos vizinhos de Mansour se tinham ouvido desacatos. Estava com Valérie, a nossa produtora local. Ninguém ouviu nada, mas um vizinho disse que achava que a polícia secreta estava a arrendar o apartamento de Mansour. No interior, Mansour disse estar preocupado com o possível regresso dos sérvios.
I'm very afraid of these people. I'm afraid if they see your guys coming back, they look at it as a challenge.
Do you think, Mansour, that there was a misunderstanding about the terms of your release, that this is more of the way that things are?
I think
you have certain restrictions that are placed upon you that
they
were
haven't,
not...
When I was in Guantanamo, they haven't told me nothing about Serbia. They told me you'll be good there. So, you know what? I will try to forget Guantanamo, start education, learning English, studying, blah, blah, blah. It's bullshit. I try to be reasonable. I try to be nice. I'm trying to be quiet. Because if I get angry, I'm crazy. You know what's been crazy? Guantanamo teach us how to be crazy, fucking crazy. I'm not making threats here, but this is how they push me to the corner. I'm trying to get my message to the fucking Serbian and fucking US embassy about US government about my problems here. But who cares? I mean, we're just a piece of shit there, just die. What matters?
Nesse mesmo dia, ligámos ao Ministério do Interior para obtermos um comentário acerca da situação de Mansour.
Hi, Nemanja.
Falei com o seu assistente.
We've been interviewing one of the former detainees here, and he's made some allegations regarding how things are in Serbia and his treatment. It doesn't scan with what we've heard in the interview and what we heard at the press conference on Sunday. So it was some things we really wanted to give the minister a chance to respond to.
Okay. What exactly they said about the treatment?
He's had some interactions, I guess, with some people from the government that apparently didn't go pleasantly. Okay. Okay. Nemanja, thanks very much.
Continuámos a tentar, mas o governo nunca concordou com uma entrevista nem respondeu às questões relativas a Monser e ao que tinha alegado. O dia seguinte era o nosso último dia na Sérvia e voltei a ler as memórias de Monser. A primeira frase dizia: se tínhamos um problema na prisão e o queríamos resolver, tínhamos de causar vários problemas.
The idea of the book to let the reader live the life of the detainees.
Durante a nossa estadia na Sérvia, Monser falou muito pouco do seu passado. Antes de partir, voltei a abordar o assunto e o facto de ele ter escrito que Guantánamo o mudou.
I have in my head, I think, the first line of your book, which I won't get it precisely word for word. In the camps, if you have a problem and you want to solve it,
if you have a problem, you have to create other problems. You have to protest. You have to behave crazy. You have to kick the doors. Why people behave like that? They're not crazy. They're not crazy. This is the way how people behave. This is the way how actually the place make these people behave. I mean, we were like animals in cages, literally. Just animals who can behave like humans. That way they were treated. I mean, I was wondering always what they want from us.
How did you first get picked up by the Americans?
Okay, we didn't want to go there first. I was sold like anyone else.
You're sold?
Sold by Afghans to CIA. And from there, we got stuck here. I didn't want to mention Afghanistan.
You don't want to talk about...
Apesar de não dizer mais, segundo o dossiê relativo ao seu caso, Monser foi entregue aos Estados Unidos por um senhor da guerra afegão que alegadamente trabalhava para a CIA.
As I told you...
Why don't you want to talk about that?
Okay, let us say wrong time, wrong place. I need to write it and put it my past in my separate book and separate story. You will see it one day, I promise you.
You write about Guantanamo, had the difficulty being in a place where you don't trust anybody and no one trusts you. And you talk about the situation here in Serbia where there are people who, say that you're a liar or like say that you might be making things up.
I mean, first of all, the governments here, or every government, they get a picture from the United States government that the stereotype, those people are liars, they pretend they are psychologically ill, blah, blah, blah. And I was shocked and surprised. And everyone repeat the same thing. And I'm afraid that you get affected with the disease here, liar, liar, liar. I didn't want to talk to you more to appear a liar here. Finish.
Regressamos aos Estados Unidos e deixámos Monser tal como o encontramos. Estava ressentido, isolado e decidido a continuar com a greve de fome. A sua advogada disse que não conseguiu quaisquer progressos relativamente ao pedido de transferência apresentado ao Departamento de Estado. No 40º dia da greve de fome de Monser, fui visitar a pessoa que tinha feito o acordo que o enviou para a Sérvia, o embaixador Lee Volosky, um enviado especial encarregado do encerramento de Guantánamo durante o mandato de Obama.
Hello.
Lee Volosky.
Nice to meet you. Thank you very much.
Volosky não tinha muito tempo, pois ainda havia 20 prisioneiros para quem precisavam de encontrar países de acolhimento nas últimas semanas do mandato de Obama. Fiz-lhe algumas perguntas acerca dos problemas que Monser sentiu na Sérvia e acerca da sua greve de fome.
We spent some time with a former detainee who has been resettled in Serbia. He was sent there last July. He seems like he is in a very desperate situation, and he's gotten to the point that he's gone on a hunger strike to protest that.
Well, I'm not aware that he's on a hunger strike. This is This is the first I've heard that he's on a hunger strike.
His lawyer said that they'd informed the U.S. government about the hunger strike.
Well, hunger strikes are not the right way to proceed in addressing grievances. The right way to do things there is to try to make the resettlement work. We can't force people to make good life choices. We can only encourage them to do it and to create an environment where that's possible. I think we've done that here, and I think the Serbian government has also done it.
Is there any additional responsibility from the U.S. government to the detainees after they've been released and resettled?
We don't make apologies for having detained people lawfully. However, we also try to create an environment where individuals can move forward with their lives. The Serbian government has created an environment where if he decides to learn the language and take advantage of the opportunities that are being offered to him, we are still confident that it can be a successful resettlement.
But on the State Department's own website, it talks about xenophobic violence being a problem in Serbia.
We've seen no indication in this case that is a factor at all. None of the resettlements that we do are easy. They require work on the part of the individual that's been transferred and put in a completely alien environment. I'm not minimizing that. What I am saying, though, is that sometimes life isn't perfect and you have to, make a decision about where you find yourself in life. I do have to be in a meeting to make sure that we're able to get more people out of Guantanamo.
Após algumas semanas, recebi a notícia de que Monsoor tinha voltado a comer devido à sua mãe, que estava no Iémen, ter ameaçado começar também uma greve de fome, se ele não parasse. Depois, um sábado à tarde, estava em casa e ele ligou-me. Tinha encontrado câmaras ocultas no seu apartamento e tinha começado a arrancá-las.
Yeah, hold up a little high.
Gravei a videochamada com o meu iPad.
Second one is here. The third one is there. You see it?
Yeah.
This is fucking enough for me. Really, it's enough. Being watched and camera on my part in the place where I live.
I imagine probably, whoever has the cameras is going to probably come by at some point.
I'm in deep shit, so...
Poucos minutos depois entrou um grupo de homens. Monsoor virou a câmara para eles e continuou a falar comigo.
The police came here, and the government and the Secret Service, they came here, and as you, there's a mosque here, and there is more guns, like 8 of them, inside, outside.
So what is going to happen right now?
I don't know.
Okay.
Can you leave my laptops, please? Who give you an order to take my laptop? Sure. I don't think this will end well.
What's wrong with you?
You tell me what's wrong with me.
Oh, come on.
Nesse momento entraram mais pessoas.
So, can you tell me why I'm being watched in my apartment? Give me one reason. Am I a criminal?
I don't know. Are you a criminal?
No, I'm asking.
I don't know.
How you don't know?
You have 2 choices.
Yes.
We take your phone now, and you are going in the hospital if you make any kind of the problems. You know the situation. Just listen to me. I'm speaking now. You don't speaking now. And
no, I'm not giving you my phone. And if you tell me, no, I'm not. Don't talk to me like this, please.
You know who you are here.
No, I don't care. You take me to your country. It's not my fault.
You have the choice.
I don't know.
And to speak.
No. Speak with me like a man. Speak with me. I'm calming down. I have done nothing wrong. I opened the door for you. I cooperate with you. Now you want to raise your voice against me. What do you have done? Tell me my problem. I'm not slave. I'm a slave.
You are not the slave.
If you want to kill me, I don't care. I 15 fucking years in Guantanamo. I traveled with you against my fucking will. Now you write numbers against me. Don't scare me. Look, I would. If I was a bad guy, I'm not stupid. I'm very smart. I'm very dangerous. But I respect Serbian government. I respect Serbian people. I have promised I will never do anything in Serbia.
And this is the procedures.
But listen to me. You come to treat me now. I haven't finished.
Perdemos a imagem, mas continuámos a receber o áudio e conseguimos ouvir o homem a explicar por que lá estavam.
We, as a state matter, we have to see if you have any other intentions except going back to a normal life. I'll Should I know you are not like a threat?
Look, I have done nothing wrong in my life. I have nothing to be afraid of.
Well, the only thing that I'm caring is that nothing happens.
Nothing happened and nothing will happen. I want to make my life. I want to start my life. I asked to come to an Arabic country.
Did you know that you don't probably have opportunity to do it? I see that the Trump administration now, it is not the same like before 1 month. I don't think that you actually had the choice.
Monsoor disse-me que lhe levaram o portátil e o telemóvel e que quando os devolveram tinham sido formatados. Liguei novamente ao governo sérvio para lhes dar a oportunidade de comentarem, mas não quiseram. Voltei a Guantánamo pouco antes do presidente Trump tomar posse. Ainda existem lá 41 prisioneiros. 5 deles foram acusados de planearem os ataques terroristas de 11 de setembro. Está previsto serem julgados nos Estados Unidos nos próximos anos. Há sinais de que a base ainda estará ativa por muito tempo.
What's going on here in terms of the construction?
Currently here on the Alpha Block will be exam room for the detainee medical center.
How far away is this from being finished?
Sometime in 2017.
O comandante do centro de detenção diz que estão preparados.
There's some construction going on here. Is that an indication that this facility will be around for a while?
We're preparing for whatever the possibility may be. Going forward with that, it provides us a capacity and ability to provide better medical care to the detainee population. Helps us out also if there's an aging population, if we're here 5, 10, 15 years down the road as well, because we have to look for all possibilities for that.
If the new commander-in-chief, who said that he wants to keep the facility open and start sending new detainees here, how would you be able to adjust?
We have multiple plans in place. The first thing we'd probably do would be looking at not intermingling new detainees coming in. So we'd have to figure out the best way to do that based upon the number of detainees we'd get.
Lá fora, quando percorri mais uma vez as instalações, aconteceu algo invulgar. Um prisioneiro que estava no pátio falou comigo.
You leave, go home? Where's home?
Normalmente é proibido aos prisioneiros comunicarem com jornalistas. Obrigaram-nos a parar de gravar. Contudo, consegui continuar a falar com ele durante vários minutos. Disse que era o prisioneiro 242, que tinha sido avaliado 4 vezes e que era prisioneiro, mas que não o tinham acusado de nada. Temia ficar ali para sempre. Mais tarde, mandei uma mensagem a Monsoor a contar-lhe o sucedido.
I texted him that a detainee tried to talk with me. It's prisoner number 242. Monsoor says, "This is my best friend." He said, "I think he is hunger strike. His name is Khaled, Yemeni. Hasn't been clear yet." Monsoor said they want him to admit he was wrong. They are crazy. But he says, "Sorry, can't talk about this issue anymore. It brings only pain, and I haven't figured out what to do."
À data da reportagem, havia 25 prisioneiros na situação do que tentou falar comigo. São prisioneiros, mas não foram acusados de nada. Há 5 homens que receberam o aval para serem libertados, como Monsoor, mas que não saíram de Guantánamo antes que Donald Trump tomasse posse. Ao longo dos anos tenho feito reportagens acerca de Guantánamo. Vi a prisão a evoluir. Em tempo estava cheio de indivíduos suspeitos de terrorismo vestidos com um macacão laranja. Algumas partes da prisão encontravam-se agora vazias.
Just right here by the side of the road, this is where the detainees were kept in cages, essentially.
Guantánamo era um símbolo da guerra antiterrorismo que surgiu após o 11 de setembro. Durante as minhas visitas à prisão, comecei a ouvir uma história raramente contada. Tinha sido usada para deter pessoas fora da jurisdição dos Estados Unidos. Tudo começou uma década antes do 11 de setembro, após um golpe de Estado sangrento do outro lado do mar, no Haiti, em setembro de 91.
The military coup is underway.
When the Haitian military overthrew elected President Jean-Bertrand Aristide.
Reports that soldiers have killed up to 150 people this week.
I was 14. My dad was in hiding, so every time they come knocking on the door looking for my dad, it was like, we don't know where he's at. I've seen people being burned alive and people being beheaded just for your political belief.
Some Army and police units are working as marauders.
My dad could have died at any given day, so we had to flee.
Marie e os seus pais estavam entre os mais de 17 mil haitianos que fugiram por via marítima após o golpe de Estado
It is a refugee flood.
e procuraram asilo político nos Estados Unidos.
For many, leaving by boat was their only escape from political.
The boat would be leaking water sometimes, so we had a bucket.
Officials worry that hundreds of Haitians may have died in the rough seas.
We went out of food, we ran out of water, people was sick. We were in a predicament. You couldn't go back.
Coast Guard is now stopping Haitian sailboats around the clock.
As autoridades tiveram de interceptar centenas de barcos.
The State Department says the Haitians don't meet standard criteria for asylum,
E rejeitaram grande parte dos pedidos de asilo.
describing them as economic, not political refugees.
Mandaram-nos de volta para o Haiti.
The Coast Guard was picking people up and sending them back to Haiti without asylum processing, basically. So without giving people a chance to establish that they were fleeing political persecution.
The Haitian exodus has tied American refugee policy into knots.
Mas os refugiados não paravam de chegar.
National security crisis.
Por isso foram levados para um local perto onde as leis dos Estados Unidos relativas ao asilo não se aplicavam.
Nearly 1,200 Haitians are being detained at the U.S. naval base in Cuba.
Os soldados americanos construíram rapidamente um campo na base naval da Baía de Guantánamo, em Cuba.
It was massive, a massive camp, and it was fenced with razor wire, and you have the tower with the guards, and then just during the day you just roam the yards. We didn't have no rights because technically we're not in the US, so it felt like you were in prison. I mean, that's what it was to us. It was being in a prison.
Passado pouco tempo, passariam a haver mais de 12 mil pessoas no campo enquanto os seus pedidos de asilo estavam a ser avaliados. Contudo, como não estavam nos Estados Unidos, não tinham acesso a advogados.
This is essentially Guantanamo Episode 1. We had foreign nationals held at Guantanamo precisely because the government believed or took the position that there were no legal constraints.
Isso despertou o interesse de grupo de estudantes de direito.
I was in my last year at Yale Law School, where the students had been working on a variety of human rights litigation projects, and one of them was addressing what was happening with Haitian refugees. And the question was whether anything more could be done.
What was happening on Guantanamo Bay was wrong, and we felt like we needed to do something, which was to file a lawsuit.
Os alunos discutiram a situação com Harold Call, o seu professor.
The students came to me and they said, we'd like you to sue the U.S. government. The case started as a request for lawyers. And what happened with the Haitians were on Guantanamo, but they didn't have legal representation and they could be returned potentially to their death. So how can it be that you can be asked questions, have no right to consult a lawyer and be returned to your death?
O governo afirmava que os haitianos não tinham direito a advogados porque Guantánamo não se encontrava dentro da jurisdição dos Estados Unidos.
The position of the government really was twofold. Number one, these detainees don't even have the right to walk into court to challenge their detention. The government's second position was, even if they can walk into court and challenge their detention, there is nothing we're doing illegal here.
Bob Begleiter representava o governo. Segundo ele, na altura, achava que estavam a ser respeitadas as garantias processuais dos haitianos.
Due process for them meant that their asylum applications were being considered in an impartial way. That was due process. The government would say they got it, and ultimately I think they all did.
Na primavera de 92, as duas partes foram a tribunal para uma audiência prévia. O juiz decidiu que a equipa de Yale podia ir a Guantánamo.
They brought me to the outskirts of the camp, and there were all these Haitian, including many children, surrounded by barbed wire. And they saw me get out of the car, and a whole bunch of them came up to the barbed wire and just started grabbing the barbed wire so hard that blood was coming out of their hands. And they started shouting, "Harold! Harold!" And I realized I'm their lawyer. I've got to get them out.
O caso não tinha fim à vista e o governo rejeitava os pedidos de asilo dos refugiados e mandava-os de volta para o Haiti. As poucas pessoas cujos pedidos foram considerados credíveis puderam ir aos Estados Unidos para pedir formalmente asilo. Contudo, alguns dos que estavam à espera de ir descobriram que iam ser retidos.
Everybody have a T number. I think mine is T1246. When your number is called, they put you on the chopper and to bring you to the state. Every day, they come with a list. They call out numbers. Your number never called until all the camps will close. Well, that's when we find out all the remaining people were HIV positive. And unfortunately, my dad was one of those.
They have been cleared to enter the U.S., but are stuck here because of a U.S. ban on HIV-infected immigrants.
Devido a essa política, mais de 200 refugiados infectados com VIH e as suas famílias poderiam ficar em Guantánamo indefinidamente. Poderiam ficar lá 10 ou 20 anos ou até ser encontrada uma cura para a SIDA.
It's a death trap. They're being held there even though they have legitimate asylum claims, but because they're sick. And what we tried to do is emphasize how crazy it was to do this. You know, that our government would be holding people all of a particular race and national origin who are all sick in a particular way instead of treating them like the refugees they were.
These Haitian refugees have reached a way station on what so far has been a journey to nowhere.
O governo insistia que os refugiados não estavam a ser maltratados, mas os habitantes acabaram por ficar mais um ano em Guantánamo.
People were getting aggressive because of the unknown. You know, they would throw rocks at the MPs. They would put you what I would call solitary confinements. People were having hunger strikes. It was us against them.
Em tribunal, o relato dos advogados do governo era bem diferente.
I was told that it wasn't perfect, but it was decent. That there was good sanitation, they provided adequate sustenance and shelter.
Depois, a equipa de Yale descobriu provas novas.
We got a series of videotapes, and one of them showed this amazing scene where the U.S. military came into the camp and suppressed an uprising among the Haitians by physically mauling them, dragging them around. Remember, these are not criminals, these are refugees.
They have those white type of handcuffs where they would tighten them really tight. A lot of people sometimes would be on the floor with their hands and feet handcuffed and took away.
And suddenly it became clear that the benign picture that was being painted was just false. The judge was watching this with, stunned.
Oh, I thought it was horrible, These people had not even been charged with a crime, but they were treated worse than criminals.
O juiz Johnson Jr. foi encarregado de julgar o caso.
How can you take a human being, take him into custody, tell a court that I'm going to do whatever I want to do with you, and to the court there's nothing you can do about it because it didn't happen in the territorial confines of the United States. It's in Cuba. Our Constitution says that if you are in custody by American authorities, you have rights.
O juiz Johnson decidiu que os haitianos seriam libertados de Guantánamo e que aquele local se regia pelas leis dos Estados Unidos. Após poucos dias, os restantes haitianos foram transportados para os Estados Unidos da América.
All this time, we thought we were alone. We were not alone. We had people who wanted us here. We had people who was fighting for us.
We won, and the Haitians came into New York under the court order. My co-counsel, Michael Ratner, and I were standing at LaGuardia, and we're in the terminal, and I said to him, the law made this happen.
Os haitianos estavam livres, mas a decisão do juiz Johnson estava em perigo de ser revogada. O governo ameaçou apresentar um recurso no Supremo Tribunal. Um caso relacionado não tinha decidido a favor dos haitianos. A única alternativa era agora aceitar um acordo.
Getting these Haitians off of Guantanamo, it came with a price.
The ruling in our favor by the judge, the court order, said alien detainees on Guantanamo have constitutional rights. And they said, you're going to have to agree that that opinion should be taken off the books.
Carr não tinha escolha e aceitou o acordo proposto pelo governo. A decisão do juiz Johnson não abriria precedente judicial.
Given the situation they were presented with, they chose the wisest course. Because better to have no precedent and live to fight another day than to find that the court has decided against you at the highest level, which is to say, you have almost nowhere to go.
Guantánamo permaneceu num vazio legal e se permitiu que fosse usado como um centro de detenção não afeto às leis dos Estados Unidos da América.
Flown from Afghanistan to the American naval base at Guantanamo Bay in Cuba.